good news to report on nearly all fronts.
Perch patterns have been working really well.
This week's BuzzBite report.
Just keep snapping it off the bottom.
Auto chart live.
You've got fish doing a number of different things.
See a lot of them?
Oh, yeah!
They are heavy. Look at this giant. How's that?
The quality of angling today. We're going to show you why it's better than ever before, plus hot angling tactics and red hot bites from all around the upper Midwest. This is AnglingBuzz TV. I'm Dave Sanda.
And I'm Troy Lindner.
Joining us later in the show, our BuzzBite reporters in the field will show us fishing updates from their local waters.
And today's show, again, we want to discuss the quality of angling. In the upper Midwest, it would be hard to argue that it's not better than ever. And I think a lot is due to the stocking programs from the different fishery departments, catch and release from the anglers out there. I mean, if you follow us on AnglingBuzz.com, you probably see the big fish reports, walleye, pike, muskie. It's probably better than ever.
You know, fishing is an interesting sport because tradition often clashes with modern times, and a lot of us older anglers, we have preconceived notions about the way things used to be and the way fish used to be caught. And I'll tell you what, if you don't roll with what's happening nowadays, you're not going to catch all those big fish that are out there. Let's take a quick look at the quality of angling today all throughout the upper Midwest. Fishing is a unique sport where angling tradition meets and sometimes clashes with modern times and tactics. Angling veterans often talk about the good old days, fondly recalling simpler times when big fish were plentiful and easy to catch. Anglers newer to the sport, meanwhile, are often quick to adopt radical new techniques, moving old favorites to the bottom tray of their tackle box. Fact is, both schools of thought, old school and new school, have their place. Because you can pursue fishing at any level you wish, simple to sophisticated. But no matter which camp you're in, you have to admit that we've come a long way since the old days. Today, water quality is much improved all across North America, and in many areas, fish populations are able to grow and prosper like never before. Couple that with progressive fisheries management that incorporates stocking, selective harvest, catch and release, and slot limits to help fisheries achieve their maximum potential. Simultaneously, fishing equipment, tactics, and techniques have progressed by leaps and bounds, providing anglers a level of fishing efficiency and effectiveness considered unthinkable a generation ago. Today, there are perhaps more and bigger fish available to catch than at any other time in history.
Biggest I seen out of this lake.
Trophy smallmouth bass populations have exploded. Giant muskies swim in numerous waters. Monster walleyes abound in lakes, rivers, and reservoirs across the continent. At the same time, anglers have an immense wealth of new equipment at their fingertips to help them catch big fish like never before.
Gorgeous fish.
One could easily make the case today that these are the good old days of angling. In fact, that's the theme for today's show.
There he goes.
Woohoo! You know, if I had to pick one thing that probably is resulting in these big fish being caught today, I would have to say electronics. Modern electronics, things like down imaging, side imaging, the detail of the new mapping systems, it's incredible.
Well, you know, back when I started fishing, we didn't have electronics. We didn't have electric trolling motors. We did everything manually. Nowadays, we are much more efficient predators when we're out there. We can locate and catch fish quickly, but with that also comes responsibility. And fortunately, people have adopted selective harvest and catch and release because what it allows us to do is recycle a lot of those fish that we catch, ensuring that we're going to have good populations of fish for the future.
And that's very important, very important. And right now, we want to bring you our Angling Buzz news for this week. The Michigan DNR is now stocking muskies in the Bays-Denac region of Michigan. And after seeing how well they're doing in the southern end of Green Bay, I think the muskie fishermen have a lot to look forward to in the upcoming future. In a few weeks, the Minnesota Fishing Challenge presented by Mills Fleet Farm is happening. This is a huge event. Last year they had 125 teams. They raised almost $270,000 for the adult and Teen Challenge in Minnesota. It's an organization that helps restore hope to people struggling with drug and alcohol addiction. Again, that's June 3rd and 4th. Recent DNR studies reveal the walleye population in Lake Vermilion in northern Minnesota is in excellent shape. Test netting completed last fall recorded an average of 19.1 walleye per net. Now this is the third highest average in almost 30 years. That says a lot for the stocking programs and management. South Dakota guide and AnglingBuzz contributor Kerry Conold out of Mobridge, South Dakota, just landed a monster pike. He did it from shore, 47 inches. That is a true trophy.
And when we come back, Midwest trophy destinations for giant pike, lake trout, and smallmouth bass, plus the first of our BuzzBite reporters in the field as AnglingBuzz continues.
My dad was never too busy to take me fishing. It was our special time together. He taught me which lures to use, how to cast, how to land big fish. Some days were better than others. Now that I'm older, I treasure those memories of our time on the water, and am glad that I can make new memories for my kids. Mills Fleet Farm, helping to create outdoor memories since 1955.
Lake Winnipegashish, Big Winnie. Let's go back in time to a real up-north vacation spot, a place where memories are made. Big Winnie is situated in the Chippewa National Forest and gateway to some of Minnesota's finest trophy walleye, pike, perch, untapped bass, and muskie fishing. It's the perfect place for family and friends when you really want to get away. Go to lakewinnie.net to find our little piece of heaven.
High-tech construction, building with old-world craftsmanship. Pride and passion, the same qualities that define high-tech construction go into every project we build. With meticulous attention to detail, our experienced tradesmen bring your floor plan to life. Our unwavering customer service results in a truly satisfying building experience. High-tech construction, where technology meets old-world craftsmanship.
Hey, we're back. And you know, Troy, I was very fortunate many years ago to be among the first groups of people that got on those big pike out in the Dakotas. And I'll tell you what, it was pretty special.
I saw a lot of those photos. These are the big pike when you got to lean back and you got to do the two hands like that.
But you know what? You can't necessarily go out and just catch those fish at any time. Timing is very important. You want to get on them when the bite is really prime and they're very accessible. And very importantly, you want to fish bodies of water that are capable of producing these very big fish.
Yeah, timing and location are probably two of the most critical things when you think about trophy hunting. And right now, we want to take you to 3 upper Midwest trophy destinations for pike, lake trout, and smallmouth bass.
Oh, big lake trout. Wow.
Ooh, that's a horse.
Well, that's a beautiful fish.
Nice looking fish. I mean, this is one giant dog. Holy mackerel.
Oh my gosh.
The monster.
It's that thing.
First up is a quick return to the Missouri River Reservoir system, stretching some 300 miles across North and South Dakota. Historically, Lakes Sakakawea and Oahe in particular are home to huge northern pike that grow to massive proportions. 20-pounders are common and 30s aren't unheard of.
Oh man, what a ball. What a blast.
Next up on our angling radar is the comeback of huge lake trout on the Great Lakes, with a special focus on Lake Superior, where giants once reigned supreme.
Wow, what a gorgeous fish, huh?
Unfortunately, the dual nemesis of commercial overfishing and the invasion of the lamprey created a double whammy that brought the laker population to its knees.
There, that's a beauty, huh?
Fortunately, the rejuvenation of lake trout spawning areas, coupled with lamprey eradication and limited angler harvest, has resulted in a comeback of epic proportions. 40-pound lakers once again roam the area of Lake Superior from just north of Duluth to the Apostle Islands and Isle Royale. Finally, we look at the booming smallmouth bass fishery of the Great Lakes, where pollution abatement has enabled smallmouth populations to explode.
There he is, a big black. Hey, I got him. Got him.
The wealth of forage fish, coupled with world-class genetics, routinely results in large schools of smallies from 4 to an astonishing 8 pounds, and occasionally bigger.
It's incredible how many big fish are available today in these lakes.
This week's focus is on the waters of Chequamegon Bay and Green Bay, including Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, and Little and Big Bays in Michigan, where brown bass roam the bays, shoals, and islands in record numbers and size.
Yeah, my favorite fish to catch is smallmouth bass, and looking at that footage from Sturgeon Bay, and the opener's happening, it's coming up here in the next week. I want to go there, I want to fish there. They mentioned that it's like fishing in an aquarium. You can see fish up to 8 pounds. Online, we're seeing reports of fish 7, 8 pounds from this time last year. I don't have one over 7. I think that's where I want to go to get my trophy.
Yeah, definitely if you want a big fish, these Great Lakes waters are the places to go. And speaking of that, only about a 2 or 3 hour drive from our office, Lake Superior has those giant lake trout. I mean, who wouldn't want to tangle with a 40-pound lake trout? That's a real monster. And now, my favorite part of the show, where we join our BuzzBite reporters in the field. They're a carefully selected group of angling legends and guides with a firm grip on the pulse of fishing in their home waters. First up from his man cave garage in the glacial lakes of South Dakota is Charlie Moore. Charlie, what have you got for us?
The word is water temps. Water temps are finally above 50. For the walleyes, that means they're right in the heart of spawn. A little tougher to catch right now, but you can still catch them on jigs like a 4-inch power minnow, or casting shad wraps or wally shads up shallow. Set in like 8 foot of water, pitch up onto the spawning grounds and try to fish that first break off of it. For the smallmouth, it means they're going crazy on the flats. They are on the main lake flats, 4 to 6 foot of water, and they're on the bite. You can use little pro jig worms. Use a jig worm. You can throw cranks at them. I like the wiggle wart crawdad color. I like the one knockers, and I really like to throw spinner baits across those flats. Very good. For the white bass, they went crazy. Go bright with the cranks. Pinks, crawdads, clown, anything bright is very good for the white bass. So the bite, smallmouth great, white bass great, walleye still in spawn, but get out on the water.
Thanks, Charlie. Up next is Brian Brosdahl in northern Minnesota on Lake Winnie for Ice Out Perch.
Let me tell you, Lake Winnie has some awesome perch. The surrounding area lakes are loaded with crappies and bluegills and everything else, but Winnie's known for walleyes, but it's also known for big jumbo perch. And right now we're doing ice out perch. When the water temperature gets in the mid-40s, the perch are up doing their business, and they'll even start earlier, right after the ice goes out. They go up into weed beds. They stick their eggs to the weeds, and we can target them. The big females do their job, and they get out of the area quick, and the males linger. This is a really nice male, and that's the ones I like to eat anyway. They don't have a lot of eggs in them. I'm using small jigs with minnows here, and that one back here I want to show you. I also use bobbers. If you get into an area in shallow water, I like using bobbers and small jigs, waxworms, minnows. But check it out, ice out perch on Lake Winnebagosh. Crappies are available, water temperatures in the 40s to 50s. We'll see you on the water. Brian Brosdahl.
Thanks, bro. And coming up after the break, more BuzzBite reports from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan as Angling Buzz continues.
Running in rough water can be a pain, literally.
Hey, I never knew how comfortable a ride could be.
Until I added Smooth Moves to my boat. Its 4-spring design with hydraulic shock can smooth even the roughest of rides. With the built-in slide and swivel, you maintain all the function of your existing seat. A turn of the handle adjusts for conditions and passenger weight.
Hey, it's easy to install and built to last.
Smooth Moves, your back will thank you. I know mine does.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye.
That's a beauty.
Bass.
My favorite fish.
Musky fish.
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
Hey, we're back, and joining us now is Tony Roche over in the Lake Mille Lacs area of Minnesota, where he's pan fishing and scouting for the walleye opener.
Hey, I'm Tony Roche. We're out fishing on a beautiful spring day doing a little bit of pan fishing. But even though I'm pan fishing, I'm always looking for where we're at in the season. This season is much different than the past few seasons in the sense that we didn't have a lot of ice cover. We had almost zero snowpack. So as far as vegetation, we're already seeing some green cabbage down there. It didn't even die over the course of last season. And so we're gonna be much more advanced when it comes to weeds, vegetation, structure, where the fish are at in the spring process. You know, some seasons it's really cold. Those fish are out in deep water. I don't think that's gonna be the case this season. But I like to use all the tools in my arsenal to aid my search. You know, I almost always bring an underwater camera in the spring because I want to see what that vegetation looks like. Also use my sonar. I'm always watching my surface temps in the spring. That's going to tell you where to fish. You know, on a high sun, warm day like this, you're going to move up really shallow. You know, don't be afraid to fish extremely shallow. I tell you what, enjoy this time of year while it lasts. And you know what, if you're out pan fishing, just because you can't big game fish a lot of times in a lot of states this time of year, doesn't mean you can't go out, check spots, use all of the tools that you have to aid your search. You're gonna have a leg up on the rest of the anglers, I guarantee it.
Thank you, Tony. And now we're heading up a little bit further north in Minnesota to Lake Vermilion with Billy Rosner.
The lake is ice-free, so we're setting up here. It should be a really good opener. Walleyes are wrapping up their spawn. They should have plenty of time to recoup. And looking forward to some really good walleye fishing up here on Vermilion. Gonna be a typical Vermilion deal. Some of your fish are gonna be shallow. Some of them are gonna be out in that 25 to 35 foot stuff, which is typical for the lake. Jigs and minnows, jigs and plastics, and I wouldn't be afraid to even try some rigs early on. The crappies, they're kind of out here in this 15 to 20 foot stuff right now. If you get out early for crappies, you know, look out here a little further right now. Look for groups of them. And then as the water temperature warms, they're going to start sliding into these shorelines to set up for their spawn. But be mobile right now. Look out in a little deeper water, and hope to see you up here soon on Lake Vermilion.
Hey, thank you, Billy. Right now, let's shift across the border into Wisconsin to join Justin Geike, who's been enjoying the year-round walleye season on the upper Wisconsin River in advance of the general statewide opener this coming weekend.
What we've seen locally where we can fish walleyes year-round and our water temperatures creeped up into the upper 40s and our walleye spawn has come to a close. That doesn't mean you should stop walleye fishing though, because there's great post-spawn activity happening here in this area. If you're fishing the Wisconsin River system, move a little bit deeper and try to find sand and gravel flats anywhere from 4 to 8 feet of water. Two tactics I like to use: one's jig and minnow combinations, and number two would be trolling crankbaits like shad wraps or running lead core with F9 original Rapala. If you're planning on going north for the opener, things should be really good there, as we still have a little bit of ice on a few lakes up in the North Woods, but with the opener is going to come perfect conditions for some spawning walleye action. Should be one of the best openers we've had for a long time. If you're looking for pike, emergent vegetation here locally, throwing spoons and spinner baits. And I'm Justin Geike. Good luck on the water.
Thank you, Justin. Up next is fly fishing specialist Luke Kavacek in Chequamegon Bay.
We've got a couple different things happening right now. The big thing coming up is pre-spawn smallmouth fishing. It's a short time away, and we're getting pretty excited for that. We've been tying up small hair jigs on really light jig heads. They work really well when the water's really cold, and it's really cold right now. Even though we had an early ice out, it's still pretty cold out here. So that's going to be happening real shortly. And the other side of things, the near shore bite for trout and salmon has been pretty good. They're not super aggressive yet, and I've been slowing down and actually throwing heavier versions of these same hair jigs. If you find a school of those fish, we're picking up some big brown trout, doing that, kind of slowing down and fishing them that way. So there's lots going on right now, and we'll talk to you later.
Hey, thank you, Luke. And right now, let's go to our man in Michigan, Ben Wolf.
Spring has arrived, and we've got some fantastic opportunities for anglers throughout the state of Michigan. The late start to the walleye run on the Detroit River should hopefully mean that anglers have great opportunities well into May. Casting and trolling for lake trout and brown trout throughout the state and in places like Grand Traverse Bay, Frankfort, and Platte Bay has been outstanding. The fishing will only get better, especially as those fish move shallow to chase bait fish. Michigan's rivers are now open for the trout season, and we're already starting to see the first few bug hatches of the year. Bigger streamers, however, should target some of the bigger resident trout that are in the rivers. Smallmouth and largemouth bass fishing across the state is really starting to pick up as these fish are entering into their pre-spawn mode. Lures like blade baits, rattle traps, and jerkbaits should definitely be a part of your arsenal at this time of the year. For more information, or if you're looking for a captain and guide, please give Sportfish Michigan a call or check us out on the web, sportfishmichigan.com.
You know, looking at our BuzzBite reporters this week, they all mentioned the importance of water temperature.
Oh, absolutely. They're all fishing warm, shallow areas where the surface water has been blown in by the wind. That's where the bait fish are. That's where the big fish are.
Yes, and coming up next, well, it's time for our cool product segment, followed by our technique of the week after this break.
Sportfish Michigan is your #1 source for top charter captains and fishing guides in Michigan. Our network of professionals are full-time anglers with years of experience providing customers with the best possible fishing trip services. Fish for trout, salmon, steelhead on Lake Michigan or its famous tributary rivers, the Traverse City area's world-class smallmouth bass, walleye fishing on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, or northern Michigan's spectacular ice fishing. We do it all. Sportfish Michigan. Get out. Get bit.
Because boaters know and follow Minnesota's aquatic invasive species laws, 98% of lakes are not known to have any zebra mussels. 95% are not known to have any kind of invasive animals or plants. Let's keep it this way. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from watercraft, including the motor, and keep drain plugs out during transport. Dispose of unused bait properly. Together, we're preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species in Minnesota.
Now it's time for our cool products brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. And I want to start out with this leader spool box by Plano. This can both double, for storage of your line, and also you can thread it through the front of this. This is really neat. It holds 6 different spools. You can thread it through the front if you fish with leaders a lot, and I do. This time of year, I have a lot of braid main line on my spinning rods, and I'll fish mono or fluorocarbon leaders on there. This is a nice way to keep everything compact and together. I also do a lot of shore fishing, and if you shore fish, this is nice. You can just keep your spools in here, throw it in your backpack, pull it out when you need to change line or change leader. It's a really great product, and these come in 2 different sizes. Up next is the Daiwa Revros Reel. Daiwa makes some great stuff. You first pick this up, you'll probably think it's $100, $200, maybe $300 reel. It's not. These retail around $50 to $60. They're extremely smooth. They have an ABS spool up here, anti-backlash system. The line flies off this thing, really nice. Their unique air rotor system is also pretty cool. They machine these in-house from start to finish. Daiwa controls the entire process. This air rotor system makes it 15% lighter. It also doesn't wobble because it's hollow, but it's extremely sturdy. And also right here you have a little anti-reverse feature here, early season finesse fishing. You probably need that if you're fishing really light line. Check it out, Revros from Daiwa. And now, Reel Magic. This is pretty cool. This is kind of a thing that a lot of bass tournament fishermen use, and I think it's becoming more mainstream across anglers across the nation. And what you do is you just pick this up, you spray it on your spool. Really easy. It works with bait casters, spinning rods, doesn't matter. And what it does is it coats the line, so it puts a protective coating. Not only protects it from the sun, but protects it from the elements. If you're fishing in icy weather, it reduces the ice buildup on your guides. That's pretty good. That can be really annoying. What it also does is makes your line soft. It coats it so you can cast further. A lot of times that means catching more fish. It also means less of those annoying bird's nests and backlashes you have to deal with. This is Reel Magic. And this is an early season cold water show that we're talking about. So right now, jerkbaits. You might walk into the store, you see a whole bunch of different jerkbaits on the shelves. There's usually 3 different kinds. You have suspending jerkbaits, slow sinking jerkbaits, or slow rising jerkbaits. And depending on the type of water and the fish species you're going for, they're going to prefer one of these over the other. And another thing with the type of action and depth rates with these baits is the color selection. You have some more natural colors, something like this that can look like a shad or just a kind of your generic bait fish color, but you also have some loud, bright colors like this. And these can be really effective in stained water, but also cool water if you're fishing for walleye, smallmouth bass, trout, or pike. And again, all of these lures and this equipment, this Plano, the Revros, the Reel Mesh, you can pick all this up at your local Fleet Farm store. You can also get it online at fleetfarm.com. And right now, this brings us to our first technique of the week featuring jerkbaits.
The main thing is how you retrieve a jerkbait, because the most effective retrieve to garner strikes is dramatically different throughout the fishing season. Right now, with the cool waters we have, bass are not as likely to chase down anything that's moving really fast. So when retrieving a jerkbait this time of the year, you need to slow things down. Cast it out, give it 3 or 4 good snaps to get it down to its right depth, then let it pause for around 5 to 10 seconds. Twitch it, pause. Twitch it a few more times, pause again. Each time, you're actually leaving slack in your line. This allows the bait to turn sideways, sometimes coasting until it's pointed in or near the opposite direction. Keep your eye on that bow in your line during the pause. When the fish strikes, you'll often see the line jump. You'll need to reel up the slack and set the hooks fast. Experiment with the duration of pauses and let the fish tell you what they're willing to bite. It's important to note jerkbait fishing can be done either with a spinning rod or a bait casting rod. I happen to prefer spinning. I feel I get more distance on a cast and I've got better control on the retrieve. Jerkbaits are often deadly in a wide variety of conditions. Suspending lures seem to infuriate fussy bass into biting when nothing else will, especially smallmouths.
Well, you dig me out. Look at how fat these fish are. That's what happens this time of the year. Look at that. Huh?
Yeah, jerkbaits are an extremely universal tool for catching fish. Not only cold water, early season fishing, but you can catch about anything.
Yeah, you can absolutely downsize your baits and catch crappies and bluegills and trout. Use much bigger baits for pike and muskie. They'll put fish in the boat for you all season long. You know what? Things move fast when you've got this much to talk about. That's the end of today's show. I'm Dave Sanda.
And I'm Troy Lindner.
And join us next week when we're going to be talking about early season walleyes. And in the meantime, you can check us out on the web at AnglingBuzz.com and see what our BuzzBite reporters in the field have to say. And as I always like to say, they'll help you put more and bigger fish in the boat in the weeks ahead.
This week's BuzzBite report.
Charlie Moore.
Bray Brostone.
Lee Telkin here.
Brad Durick up here on the Red River.
Muskegon River.
Leech Lake.
Devil's Lake.
Beautiful Lake Vermilion.
Black.
Topwater's been really fun.
Go to the plastics.
Bass like this.
A lot of walleyes like that.
Giant bluegills.
From Sturgeon Bay.
From Lake Sakakawea.
Winnie.
Lake Superior.
Madison, Wisconsin. Good luck, everybody.
Have fun.
We'll see you next week.